Hey there, YouTubers. It's Dasgregor, and I've got a couple rants for you. I can't believe this. This is absolutely ridiculous. The airline industry has us by the cojones, and it's ridiculous what they're doing to us. Get this. I'm trying to send my mother-in-law, my wife, and my daughter from back east to Colorado this summer. My wife's going out there to visit for a little bit, then my folks invited them to go out to Colorado, so I was buying some tickets. And I was looking online, seeing what I could find. So I go to all the different sites looking for the best price, and it's not too bad. I'm finding average about $125, and it seems like I'm not going to name names of airlines because I'm not going to blast anybody, because any airline probably does this. But let's just say I find a really good price with Airline A through travel site 1. So I see this and say, okay, well, this is fine. Well, let's go, instead of going through this travel site, let's go directly to Airline A's website and take a look at it. So I do this. And lo and behold, it's like, wow, it's cheaper. It's $100, $99 per person to send them from back east out to Colorado. That's not too bad. I can afford that. I'll go ahead and do that. That's a great price. So I start booking the travel, and I get all the way down to the point I've given them the names, the people who are going. I've given them my credit card. I'm ready to pay. All I got to do is hit that last button that says finalize, and there's a finalize button, there's a show itinerary button. It says, well, let's just look at the itinerary just to make sure you know how difficult travel is with airlines. Anyway, you get anything wrong and it costs you an arm and a leg to cancel and try to fix it. So I go and I check the flight and I look at the itinerary, and in big red letters at the top, this flight itinerary is no longer available. The fare is no longer accepted. What in the heck? I looked at the plane. They had 30, 40 empty seats. At first I was misunderstanding it. I thought that they're trying to tell me that the flight was booked. This can't be. And then I look at it again and it says, oh, the fare. Well, this $99 fare all of a sudden within seconds just disappeared. And while I am one click away from telling it purchase, it went from $99 a person to $155 a person plus tax, which ends up taking the fare from about $350 for everybody up to around $530 to $550. Another $200 that they just raised the price on me in less than 5 minutes of starting my fare. Now, you know what? When I click on accept a fare price, F-A-R-E, not F-A-I-R, there should be a fare reaction, F-A-I-R, that states, okay, he chose a flight and we said that it would be $99. My price should be $99. That's as bad as if I went to the gas station, filled up my car with petrol, and the price at the time was $2.50. And after I finished filling up my tank, I went to the cashier and said, oh, we're sorry, while you were filling up your gas tank, the price tag went up to $2.90. So your new price is Y instead of X. That is BS. I am sorry. That just makes me angry. So I canceled it. I went back to one of the travel site A to check it out again. I did a refresh, and sure enough, on the travel site A, within seconds, or I forget if I'm using numbers or letters, doesn't matter. It was up to $155 plus taxes and interest and everything else, instead of this $99 fare, or even the $125 fare that I found earlier was gone. And that happened within 10 minutes. That just is not right to the consumer. So get this. I was also looking at other ways to get them out here. And so I went to another site, another travel site, and I said, okay, what can you tell me? How can you help? Let's see what it does. And it had an option to search other airports within an 80-mile radius. So I said, great, maybe I'll find something that's around there that's cheaper, that wouldn't take too much time. So I click on that, and we're looking at going from the East Coast to Colorado Springs. Now, I find a flight, and it says $120 per person to get from DCA, Reagan National, to Colorado Springs, with one stop in Phoenix. Guess where I am from? I'm from Phoenix. So they'd be stopping right here. And it's $120 a person. Wow. I didn't even think about DCA flying out of. I always fly out of Baltimore, look at something like that. And so I change it. So I tell it, go directly from DCA to Phoenix. All of a sudden, that direct flight is no longer an option. Although, the other thing is, I did a search for this particular flight number, and get this makes no sense to me. This airline, to fly from DCA to Phoenix, PHX, costs $280 for a non-stop flight to Washington, D.C. to Phoenix. But you can package the same flight and go from Washington, D.C. to Colorado Springs with a layover in Phoenix for $120 a person. What's up with that? The smart thing is, you book the flight from DC to Washington D.C. to Colorado Springs. You don't use your second half of the trip. But that's not an option, and the price is more than double if you go and do it without the direct flight. That makes no sense whatsoever. Come on, airlines, come on. This is ridiculous. Does anybody else out there in YouTube land agree with me? It's just silly that I can sit here and I can look and I can keep refreshing, and every 30 minutes to 45 minutes to an hour I can refresh and find a different price, a different route, something that's cheaper. I would have never thought to make it a trip from point A to C so I can get to point B cheaper, because that's what it's doing. Point A, point B, point C, with point B being the interconnecting flight, and if B is my destination, it's cheaper to go from A to C with that point B than to go to A to B. Anyway, I'm so fed up with it. I just can't believe the prices. I just closed all my browsers. I'm going to come back later, check it out again, see if I can get them something good. It kind of reminds me when I first got married about 7 years ago, and we were getting our honeymoon tickets to go to Hawaii. And I'd gotten this great deal for 4 nights, 5 days stay at the Ala Moana Hotel, which is no longer a hotel now, I found out, in Honolulu. And I got this great price for it. And I thought, great, this is wonderful. I didn't think I didn't have that big of a budget when we got married. So let's look at airline tickets. And I looked at airline tickets back then. And this, of course, is 7 years ago. And it was $1,600 for 2 people to fly from Baltimore, Maryland, to Honolulu, Hawaii. $1,600 where there went that budget. But I watched this, and I kept refreshing it, and the next thing I know, it went down to $1,400. Then it went down to $1,200. Then it went down to $1,000. It went down to $800. I got it all the way down to $600 for 2 people, round trip from Baltimore to Honolulu. And I wasn't about to chance it after that. I was so afraid that if I waited any longer, it might bounce back to $1,000 to $1,600. I grabbed the price, bought them, and we were able for under $1,000 to spend a week in Hawaii with a really nice hotel and our airfare. That just doesn't make sense. Why is it that passenger A could have spent $90 for his ticket, but because I went to the same site a different part of the day, I ended up spending $270 for my ticket? Or passenger B spending that same amount. Anyway, I've made this too long ranting about airports, so I'll shut up for now. Good seeing everybody. I'll try and send something else soon, so you're not just listening to me complain. I got some story ideas. I always say that, don't I? But anyway, Have a good evening, good night, good morning, whatever you're having, have it. Enjoy it. We'll chat with you later. Bye.